Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today we have, you guessed it, another Kizer. Actually, you didn't guess it. You probably saw it on my thumbnail. This is the Kizer Gemini. Before I go any further on this knife, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will continue to pump out some content for you guys. Some good content. Really good content. Content you'll hopefully love. Now, let's go over some specs on this knife. We have an overall length of 7.25 inches, blade length coming in at 3.125 inches, blade thickness at a nice slicey 0.09 inches, blade material being Bowler N690, a drop point blade from a very special designer, which we will also touch on here in a bit. We have a flat grind stonewash finish, 4.125 inch handle length, handle thickness at 0.43 inches, some pretty nice, pretty decent brown micarta for handle material, a weight coming in at 3.58 ounces. We have a right hand only tip up carry, the designer being the ever so popular Ray Laconico, which is just a great thing. Ray Laconico is one of my favorite knife designers, so I am very happy to have this piece in hand. And a total price of $75. So for $75, you're getting a lot. You're getting a good name, a good steel, a good micarta, and for $75, you definitely get your money's worth with this piece. Now let's do some size comparisons. Start out with some other micarta fellas. We have the Giant Mouse Ace Biblio, as well as the Civivi Elementum. As you can see, keep hitting the handle there. Pretty close in length to the Biblio. A little longer than the Elementum. Pretty good start off of comparisons there. Let's go with some CJRBs. I really like this size comparison because you have the large feldspar and the small feldspar, and I think a lot of us have experienced one or both of these. Great little offerings from CJRB. But as you can see there, gives a nice perspective with kind of the same knives in two different sizes. I wish more companies would do that. And next up, we have the Benchmade Bug Out, along with the TRM Atom. Three very, very nice EDCs right there, and I am talking about that Gemini as well. This Gemini is an excellent EDC option. Now let's talk about this blade, because I do enjoy me a Ray Laconico design, and Ray Laconico can design a drop point that is just as beautiful, just as elegant, just as good as anyone. And that's what you have here. A pretty pronounced swoop dropping point down here with a little bit of a recurve and a belly that comes up to a nice tip. Extremely functional blade, very slicey. Just a very, very nice overall EDC blade. And Ray Laconico is another one where you know a Ray Laconico design when you see it. He has had designs from the very popular Mass Drop Keen. That's a lot of people have that one. And he's also branched out and working with a company in California called Monterey Bay Knives that have had a decent amount of releases now, and they've been pretty popular. They've collabed, but a lot of the designs have been from Ray himself, from the EZC, the XLC EZC, they have a decent amount. They're kind of hard to get a hold of. They sell out pretty fast, but check out that website sometime, Monterey Bay Knives. You'll know it when you see it. It's a really cool logo, but Ray does a lot of designing there. But he designed this one, and this is the one we're going to talk about today. It's very nice. It's everything you would expect from a Ray Laconico design. It has the lines, it has the very nice feel in hand, and this one has micarta. Very, very nice. But let's stay focused here. Let's stick on the blade. Love the full flat grind. Really like the full flat grind. It's a very simple look. you don't have a whole lot going on, just a real useful, sharp piece of steel. And you got to really like that. This blade is perfectly centered. And it's so thin and so light, sometimes you can have trouble getting a blade perfectly centered, especially when you're working with something like micarta and liners. It's not the, this isn't exactly built like a ZT, but extremely, still plenty durable enough for your EDC needs, and perfectly centered. Just perfectly centered. No blade play either way. Just very nice construction and a very, very nice overall blade that also has no real annoying branding. Just the name right there, the blade steel, the Kizer symbol. And I always love the way Laconical puts his name up on the spine. Always really like that. And it's on this one. It's a little different. Usually it just says R. Laconico. This one says Ray Laconico, which that's fine. But always like that. It's always been a unique little touch from him. The handle and ergos on this guy are really good. Very good. It's pretty. I wouldn't say it's anything excellent or perfect, but very good. Slender knife, nice width to the handle, so it still fills your hand pretty well. No hot spot from the pocket clip, which is not deep carry, but Ray's knives usually don't have deep carry pocket clips. Most of them do just have a traditional clip, and I don't really have a problem with that. It's just part of his style, I think, and it works. Like I said, no hot spot. It does the job. It clips to your pocket just fine, so no real issue there. This handle, it feels something in between of a TRM Neutron and a TRM Atom. It's that slim. And it's the width and everything about it. The only real difference, let's bring the Atom back out for comparison. I don't have a Neutron. But as you can see, the length is pretty much spot on. The only real difference there is at the back where the Atom gets a little slimmer, which it's nice, and it's also, I don't know. I'm not sure which one I prefer more. I think since I have kind of longer fingers, I think I prefer this one. But just by a little. I mean, I don't have any complaints with the ergos on this Atom. The only thing I would change is I wish there was a little more, like you have a little more of a dip up here for your finger. But that also might have something to do with the flipper, because this don't have a flipper, so you don't kind of have that feel. But awesome ergos, but just similar ergos, and with the thickness of the handles, I thought it was worth comparing. They're pretty similar there. I like them both. If you have the Atom, I think you would really like the ergos and handle on this knife as well. Another thing that I'm not going to stop shouting about because it's awesome, is the fact that Kizer is bringing back these models with micarta. They've had this model before in the past, but it was kind of more of their premium line. It had S35 and titanium, and that's okay, but I like this so much more, especially for like half the price, or even I think less than half the price. It's a fantastic offering for $75. Pretty nice micarta. I wouldn't say it's the best micarta I've ever seen. It looks a little pressed. It doesn't quite have the grit and grain that other micartas do, kind of like the feldspar here. This is a much grippier micarta, and you can see the grain in the micarta better, which I think it's one of the reasons I like micarta so much, is it just gives it a really good patinaed look, and it patinas really well over time with the grain, and like the grain kind of stays light, but the parts around it darken up, so it looks like it has some real character. And this micarta, I don't know, I'm interested to see just exactly how this will patina. Trying to get closer here. There you go. You can see a little of the grain, but it's not quite as nice as other micartas. We're just going to call it good. Good enough. Good enough for $75, we'll put it that way. And it's brown. I like brown micarta. I'll take brown micarta over green micarta any day. I just like brown better. I think it pairs better with khakis and jeans and my leather wallet. Again, though, that's just personal preference. I wish the pocket clip on this guy was stone-washed, because the blade's stone-washed and everything else. I don't mind the screws and pivot being kind of satin, but the pocket clip just really kind of pops. It stands out a little too much. If that was stone-washed, that would be a really nice, subtle touch they make. And I would like to see that in a lot of other pocket knives. You know, companies, they come out with these knives that have the pocket clips, and regardless of what type of pocket clip they are, the blade's stone washed. And outside of the blade, the next most noticeable part of metal on the knife is usually the pocket clip. And the pocket clip, they keep it the satin, and I think it's just because they don't want to put in the extra time and work of stone washing the clips, but I really wish they would, because this would look a lot better with the stone wash clip. It's one of the very few things I would change on this knife. Definitely would love to see a stone wash clip there. But again, just me. Very nice cutout to easily access the liner lock, which showcases this incredible drop shutty action on a thin, light blade. Very thin, but it still just drops right shut, and we're going to just bring that into the action here, because the action on this knife is fantastic. You can flip it, pull down, and it pops right out, but I actually prefer just pushing it. Push it in, and it rockets out. Makes a very nice clicky noise. Listen to that. It is a good one. And really, if you pull down like that, works fine. It's going to deploy 100% of the time, but it almost comes out a little, I feel like it comes out with a little more whip when you just push it. So that's fun to just really easily deploy a knife. And as you saw there, I didn't fully get the full force, and it still flung right out. But very nice action on this knife. I still wish they would have some jimping on this flipper tab. There's no jimping there, and that can, every once in a while, even, I will say though, the detent is perfect on this knife. It's dialed in. It couldn't be any better. So when a detent's that good, it's really hard to miss a flip. But I still wish there was some jimping up there. It would just, because when you first touch the tab, you feel your finger, it slides easily, really easily. But still, with a detent so good, you can move around and still just kind of flip it out extremely easily. Nothing to worry about there on the action. It's going to pop out probably 999,999 times out of a million. So there's that. But no, solid action, very smooth, and I'm really impressed at just how well centered this blade is, because it feels light. It just feels like, I don't know, it feels like it shouldn't be so so put together in such a great manner. It is. It's a very, very nice construction in what feels like a lightweight package, but I'm telling you, this is a pretty durable knife. I'm going to say it right now. My overall thoughts of this knife, I always liked the Gemini from Kizer, but I didn't really like all the titanium, and I hated that ugly swirly pivot they had on there. That's actually one of the reasons I wasn't a big Kizer fan for the longest time, was that pivot was just hideous. I have one knife, the Kizer Critical, that has that swirly pivot, and luckily there's so much else going on in the knife, it kind of takes away from it. But a knife this simple, having that swirly pivot, was just terrible. But it looks so much better with the Micarta, and especially just the plain pivot. That's what a Laconico needs. A Laconico design is simplistic. It's usually not too flashy. It works, and it just looks great, and that's what you have here. This, I'm going to say it, this is probably one of my favorite EDC knives I've ever had. For the simple Laconico design, and the Micarta, and the killer action. There's not many knives that are true flippers, you can't do anything else other than flip it, that I like this much. And I really do like this one that much. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. The looks brought me in, and the action sealed the deal on this one. So for $75, this is an absolute excellent knife. If you guys are interested in this at all, and you can cough up the money for it, jump on it. I absolutely love it. Couldn't be happier with this one. That's all I got for you today. That is the Kizer Gemini. Look it up. Get yourself one. I will see you guys in the next one. I'm out.